Hello everyone, this is going to be a simple tutorial on how to make a live faction mods. There is already many tutorials out there that go into this mod in much greater detail. This is just going to be a simple mod that covers the basics and the minimum required efforts to actually make a live faction for beginners. So before we start, there are a few things you're going to need. To start with, obviously, you're going to need the Alive mod. Next, you're going to need .pbo manager, which used to be on Armaholic, but now you can find with a simple Google search. PBO manager is what you're going to use to open and pack up PBO files, which are the files that Arma 3 reads. You will also need Arma 3 tools, which you have if you have already bought Arma 3 on Steam. You just need to go into your library, go into this tab right here that says Games, enable Tools, and you will see Arma 3 tools right there in the list of Arma 3 stuff. This is how you will publish the mod when we're done. The last thing you will need is a template folder, which you used to be able to get directly off of Armaholic, and you might still be able to find on BI's website somewhere. I'm not sure where to get it anymore, but all of my Alive faction mods are based around the template folder, so you can just download any one of my Alive mods, then go into your launcher, click on Display More Options, and copy it as a local mod. And from here, this is just the template folder that we're going to be overriding all of its contents with our new faction mod, changing the name and everything. It's just a template, so it can be any Alive faction mod that you want to use as a template. It doesn't really matter. Alright, now with all that out of the way, you're going to want to boot up your game with the Alive mod and any other mod that you want to use assets from. And from the menu, jump into the editor, and we'll jump into virtual reality. You can be any map, but virtual reality has no objects, so it loads a bit quicker. And once you're in your editor, you want to place down a single unit, player controlled, which it will be by default, which you see with the red outline. That will be your unit when you spawn in. You're going to want to go to your Systems tab, or just press F5. Open the Alive modules, and place down these first three. The Alive Required, Alive Data, and the Alive Orbat Creator. You don't need to worry about any of the others for now, just the first three, and then play scenario. And once the scenario boots up, it will load in the Alive menu. Now, you're going to be in the faction editor by default, so you're going to want to create a new one, or if you have already made one and you're just coming back, you're going to want to find it and select it and hit edit. But for now, we're going to just create a new one. We're going to call it Test Faction 1 on the side of Blue 4, and its country will be the world. It'll be the what? Why not? With a good old Canadian flag. Hell yeah. We'll go into the unit editor, create a new unit. From here, you're going to want to give it a display name, which the player will see when they put their cursor over, or they'll see in the menu or whatever. So for this, we'll call it Test Unit Boy 1. And we're going to want to generate a class name, which you can see it then uses the faction, the country, and then the unit's name. Ownership, that should be all already set up for you. It's going to put it into the faction that you're creating. Unit type. Now, this is very important because Alive does give you the option to change the unit's voice and the unit's face. However, it's hard-coded for some reason, I think. I don't really understand why it does it, but once the scenario starts, your unit will default back to the voice and face of whatever it was based off of. So, if our unit here is based off of a NATO guy, let's say, then no matter what, he's going to have the faces that the NATO guys have by default, and he's going to speak English. If we were to make our guy, let's say CTRG, then he's going, well, that's a bad example because that's also English. If we were to make our guy CSAT, let's say, then he's going to speak with a CSAT accent and have their range of faces. So we'll make our first guy just a simple NATO guy to start with as an example. And then we'll go into the loadout. And from here, you can obviously do whatever you want. You're making your own faction. But for this test, we will give him something that we can easily identify him with. So, let's see. We'll give him a tinfoil hat. That sounds good. So there's our unit. Now let's add in a vehicle. So test Vic. Test Vic. You can make the name whatever you want. Again, it just, when the class name is made, it cannot have the same class name as any other unit, or it will cause an error. So we'll go into NATO and sure, we'll give it a anti-air vehicle. Now to crew it, you would go into edit vehicle again. In appearance, you can change the color, and crew, driver, test unit, gunner, test unit, save changes. So now it'll spawn all crewed up with our custom units. You do the same thing for turrets. You would select a turret and then give it the crew. Once you have your faction all done up and you have it the way you like it, you can go over to Group Editor, open that up. In the Groups tab, we'll make a simple infantry one. We'll call it Test Squad. Category, icon, all pretty much straightforward. Give it a class name. And as we select units, the first one will be a sergeant, and every one after that will be a private. To change that, you can go into here and just give them whatever rank you want. New, we'll do this. Test Squad 2, generate, and this will be a motorized, so when you see the little icon in the high command bar or whatever, it'll be proper and correspond to what it is. And then anti-air, add, which will already come crewed, and then we can give it a couple units which will spawn beside it to guard it. So once you've got all your units done and you got your faction how you like and you've got them all put into groups, then we can finally move to export. From here, you click on full faction and you'll see config data copied to the clipboard. Now from here, we want to minimize Arma and then bring up our template folder from earlier. Here we go. So we can see this is the template folder. We'll open the add-ons. You're going to want to delete everything in here except for one PBO. You're only going to need one to start. We're going to right click on it, and using PBO Manager, we'll click the last thing, extract to, and in its own name, which will make a file with its own name. From there, we can delete the PBO, no longer needed. We can change the name of the folder, so this will be our test faction 1. And from here, we can go into the autogen. Sorry about that. Open it up with Notepad or whatever you like. Go into Edit, select all, and delete. Press Ctrl and V to paste. Or you can also right click and hit paste. And then you should see that it's filled up with all of the code needed for your faction. And you can see even here, there's the APC, there's the anti-air gun. So we'll close that off, make sure it's saved. Jump back into Arma. Jump back to the Export tab, and this time you're going to want to press CFG Patches. Again, you'll see config data copied to clipboard. Once again, you're going to want to minimize Arma and bring up the faction folder. And just like we did for the autogen, we're going to open up the patches with a notepad or whatever you like. Edit, select all, just like we did with the autogen. Delete, and then paste in the new stuff. And you'll see your stuff listed up here with its class names, just to verify. Then make sure it's saved and close it off. Come back out. And you're going to want to right click on this when you're done. Go back to PBO Manager and pack it into a PBO. That way Arma 3 can read it. And from here you no longer need the file. Now if you want to make another faction a part of the same mod, you would just copy the PBO, open it up, and repeat the steps all over again. But this time with a different name. But for this example, we're just going to use the one. Then you can go to your file name, the file itself, and you can change it to whatever you like. Test faction 1. No. Test mod 1. And now your mod is done. It's all ready to go. There are two things you can do with it. If you just want to play it for yourself, you can go into your launcher, click on local mod, go to your desktop, find it and select it, and you'll see test mod was loaded. If you wish to publish it though, you will need to go to those Arma tools we were talking about in the beginning. Launch the publisher. Wait for it to load. Once the publisher loads, you'll see this page. From here, you want to go to this little tab, select mod folder. We're going to find the mod and click it. It'll give the location. You can give it any name you want, any visibility, mod type, yada yada yada. Give it description. You got some fonts here to help you, change notes. This is where you can also select the thumbnail picture. Once you got everything done the way you like it, agree to the license and click the publish button. You'll see a copyright reminder that no one ever reads. And then all you gotta do is wait for it to finish. And now, if we go into content and workshop items, you'll see the mod. I made this private, but if it was public, you'd see it on the workshop page itself. And that's it. That's all there is to it. I hope this helps. If you'd like to know more, there is many tutorials out there that go into this Alive faction creation in greater detail. I just wanted to cover the basics in hopefully the most simplest of ways. But I hope this has been helpful, and I wish you all the best.